You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights. We're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back in for Wednesday. It is once again spring training season, so we can actually go with the baseball euphemism here and tell you it is the grand slam of conservative talk radio right here on KLRN every Wednesday night. Your leadoff man, yours truly, kicking things off, followed by Jesse's POV, and then Constitution and Culture, and the cleanup hitter, America Off the Rails with Rowdy Rick. Do yourself a favor, stay right here all night. Wednesday TV sucks anyway, and you know it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Welcome back again, and always a pleasure to have you here with me, because without you, I'd just be talking to myself. So, anyway, who watched the speech last night? Yeah. Show of hands? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, thank you there, Mr. Producer. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty decent speech. I'm still not without questions. He did seem to write some checks that I need some answers to how they're going to be cashed. But all in all, I thought he did pretty damn good. Definitely the most civil we've seen him. If you watch the speech, I don't know, this is the feeling I got, and maybe you got something different, but I thought that he actually put the left on their heels quite a bit and didn't give them a viable out on a lot of things. And as soon as I can find it here, we're going to, I have no clue where it is now. I has lost our phone number, boss. Can you give the phone number out so we can open the line in case somebody wants to argue?
Sure, give me just a second.
Sure. So we'll get the phone number queued up here in just a second. We'll get the phone, and that way you can tell me I'm a nut job, or that you agree, or you saw something completely different, and maybe we're both wrong. Who knows? I don't know. I'm all about that free exchange of ideas, you know? So, but anyway, while Boss Man's getting the number, we're going to keep talking. And I'm going to say that he actually sounded fairly presidential. You know, he sounded really good. It was a very strategically done speech, I thought. I thought that it was done in a manner that it didn't give the left a lot of wiggle room. They either had to show themselves for what they really are, or appear to be crossing party lines, and either way it galled them to no end, as evidenced by Schumer's comments today. The only thing Schumer came away with is that he wanted more details in the speech. And now, folks, I can give you that number. That number is area code 405-648-4798. That's 405-648-4798. We're just going to leave the lines open the whole show. So if you got something on your mind about last night, or something else on your mind and you just want to burn it, give us a call. I'm open. Like I said, I like the free exchange of ideas. And I am about freedom, and I'll give you a minute or two of airtime here on my time. Don't tell me I'm stifling your free speech if I get bored with you and decide to end the call, though, because you'll have had some speech on the air, and I'm not stifling your speech because this is actually my time to speak, and I'm inviting you. Anyway, as I said, I felt that he put them on their heels for the most part, especially with things like jobs, veterans care, domestic spending, the border. I thought it was pretty well done. I don't think he did that on his own. I think there was definitely some serious help involved with that. It's definitely not Trump's natural born state to be like he was last night, but it came off well, and I was kind of glad to see it. I saw a lot of never Trumpers talking that had he been more like this on the trail, they would not have been so timid about supporting him, maybe, but he was just too extreme for them. Now that leaves us with an interesting question of what does his hardcore base think about last night's speech? Where's the alt-right on this? Where are where are the people like Roger Stone, those idiots, the Bill Mitchells, those idiots. Anyway, just something to think about. I thought he did pretty well with it. He handled himself very well for the most part. I think he may have elaborated a little too much when talking about Navy SEAL Ryan Owens. I think that keeping the message succinct and on point got away from him a little bit when he started rambling on about the data that was collected on that mission. I don't think that's necessary. I think that everybody in the nation gets that he was a Navy SEAL, that he was on a mission when he was killed, and that is in the sacrifice of our freedoms here at home. And I thought it was a very beautiful moment for his wife there, for his widow. Very heart-touching. But, just an overall good job, I thought. And then you had the Democrats' Chicken Little sky is falling because they want to repeal Obamacare. Democratic reply from the former governor of Kentucky. I'm wondering why they chose a has-been to deliver the rebuttal. And this guy, and he flat got it handed to him by Matt Beaven in Kentucky last go around. I mean, elections have consequences, and why that guy was given the rebuttal for the Dems, I have no idea. Maybe it just shows you how out of touch they really are. Trump said last night that Kentucky's got a third of their counties with only one provider. And actually, according to the insurance numbers that were calculated, going back 2 months now, Kentucky's counties are over half now with only one provider. So, I'm not sure where they got their 1/3 number from, but according to the insurance industry, it's over half of Kentucky. So anyway, again, a little more elaboration than what was needed at times during the speech. And like I said, Schumer whined that he wanted more details, but details comes in legislation, Senator Schumer. Details don't come in a speech. And if anybody can go back and recall Obama's first joint address, it was all rah-rah, Obama for America, yes we can, the regular Democratic hyperbole and campaigning speech still going on. And this was a little different. I mean, it had some of that aspect to it. Don't get me wrong. But this was different. And there was substance to it. There was a little bit of bite to it. Does it leave questions? Yes, it leaves questions, but no president has ever done a first joint address 40 days in and had all the details of all their proposals in the speech. This is how far the left is reaching. And I say that because I'm hearing it from never-Trumpers, social media. I mean, it's out there. They're coming around. They're like, wow, that was actually good. It is what it is. And that was last night's speech. And like I said, we can talk about it if you want to talk about it. We can talk about something else if you want to talk about it. Again, the number is 405-648-4798. Lines are open the entire show. Feel free to call anytime. Like I said, we do have things to talk about tonight other than the speech. So without further ado, we're going to roll into some of those details that weren't in the speech and that still leave questions, and we'll get answers eventually. Here's the one that tipped me more than anything. I want to know where the money's coming from. But President Trump says his first budget will include an historic increase in defense spending to rebuild the depleted military of the United States of America at a time when we need it most. This $1 trillion budget, give or take 100,000 here or there, also increases spending on federal law enforcement while cutting other domestic spending. So when Trump hosted the nation's governors Monday night at the Governor's Gala, the $54 billion increase in defense discretionary spending, he said, will be offset and paid for by finding greater savings and efficiencies across the federal government. Okay, I'm still a little skeptical. I get that there is waste in government. Trust me, I was part of government for 10 years in the military. I saw plenty of waste. I saw waste in government as a civilian when I went to military installations to train civilians from my civilian job. So he tells Fox and Friends that some of that will come from a revved up economy. So I guess he's thinking that there'll be more available tax dollars. I don't know. But he says we're going to do more with less. That's his big line. We're going to do more with less. And we're going to make the government lean and accountable to the people. It's a beautiful concept. It really is. Let's see how much he can get that done with the resistance of Washington, D.C. establishment fighting him. Because you know good and well, and I know good and well, they don't want to give up what they got. But Trump says we can do so much more with the money that we spent. And a short time later, the White House budget director, Mick Mulvaney, told reporters at the White House that this is not a full-blown budget. It's just a blueprint, a top-line number only. The top-line defense discretionary number is $603 billion. That's a $54 billion increase and one of the largest increases in history. It's also the number that allows the president to keep his promise to undo the military sequester. Mulvaney said the top line non-defense discretionary spending is $462 billion. That's a $54 billion savings. It's the largest proposed reduction since the early years of the Reagan administration. Now, details on mandatory spending, entitlement reforms, tax policies, infrastructure plans, and revenue projections will come later in April or May. Which is fine. That still leaves plenty of time for maneuvering to get a budget done by the end of the fiscal year. There's nothing wrong with that projected time frame. Okay, right now we're operating on Obama's last budget, and God help us. It's not like he did a great job with budgeting. The Trump budget, they say, is a true America First budget. And we'll see. It will show that the president is keeping his promises and doing exactly what he said he was going to do when he ran for office. Now, won't that be refreshing? Somebody that actually keeps their promises. You don't have to agree with it, but just the fact that he's working to keep them. Hey, something fresh. It prioritized rebuilding the military, including restoring nuclear capabilities, protecting the nation and securing the border, enforcing the laws currently on the books, taking care of veterans, and increasing school choice. And it does all of that without adding to the currently projected fiscal year 2018 deficit. Well, now that's nice, but why again, I don't like the deficit thing. And it doesn't seem to bother Trump. I don't know that he actually gets the whole economic side of it, but I never thought I'd say that about him. And I've had my questions about him and always touted his business abilities. But as a nation, to be deficit spending, this is not a good thing. And for him to not be concerned about it, that's a little more frightening. So that's one area where I will question him. Trump's budget reduces foreign aid to other nations and cuts duplicative programs that don't work. The EPA is among the agencies where cutbacks are anticipated. The bottom line is the president's going to protect the country and do exactly what every American family had to do over the past couple of years, and that's to prioritize spending. I like it. I do. I like that on its face value. Now, Mulvaney went on to say each government agency will get a top-line number this week, along with a recommendation from OMB as to how we think they can hit that number. Foreign aid, for example, the president said, we're going to spend less money overseas and spend more of it here. That's going to be reflected with the number we send to the State Department. So there's going to be some deep state cuts. Now, appearing on Fox News Monday evening while the governor's gala was going on, Mulvaney addressed criticism from those in Congress who say the increase in discretionary defense spending isn't big enough, and those who say the cuts in non-defense discretionary spending are too much. Interesting. So he's taking heat from both sides. Go figure. Trump didn't introduce the budget to try and make Congress happy, Mulvaney said. The president had me introduce this budget so that he could keep his promises to the American people. You'll see in these numbers are exactly what he campaigned on, and that is what it's all about. I like the cut and dry, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I still have some questions about funding, but I do like where he's headed in general. If he talked on the campaign trail and said that he wants to do more of it, there's more of it in the budget. If he talked about it and told people he was going to do less of it, there's less of it in the budget. Mulvaney said he understands criticisms on both sides up the hill, and that's fine. But that's not who this budget is targeted to. This budget is targeted to the people that President Trump represents. Mulvaney said said items such as tax reform and health care reform, the larger policy ideas, will be addressed in the full budget that is submitted to Congress in April or May. Trump told the governors at the governor's gala that his budget blueprint is going to be a very big part of tomorrow night's speech, which was last night's speech, and he called it a budget of great rationality. Okay, I'll buy that. I mean, like I said, I'm not without question, but I'll buy the direction that he's moving in right now. Is it perfect? No. No, it's not. Quite frankly, he's going to do things along the way that I don't care for. He's going to do things that I like. And that's just what it's going to be. He's a little bit country. He's a little bit rock and roll, for those of a certain age who remember that. But I think all in all, the polls showed today following the speech, depending on who you looked at and which poll you looked at, a 10 to 12% increase in his approval rating and in the direction of the country following the speech. That, my friends, is a huge bump. If it were me, I would be striking the hot iron right now. I would have come out today as the White House with proposed legislation for the House and Senate to consider and put that in their hands and said, let's go, let's get this in gear and get it rolling. That's just me, though. I would have struck while that iron's hot, because that iron being hot, even a 10 to 12 point bump for something like that, it doesn't last long. Clout doesn't live long in D.C. That's a fact. Now, we've got some people that have a different vision of where America's heading, and there's a lot of information out there that is very sobering about some programs that we operate in this country. Excuse me. And I think that since we're at the end of that last bit, we might just go ahead and take the bottom of the hour break here a minute or two early. And that way, when we come back, we can just start fresh on this new story. I know right now Mr. Producer's probably smacking me right through the airwaves, thinking I knew I had 2 more minutes to get this queued up and ready to roll.
Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough as nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that
America? Yeah, that's America. Yeah, you guys, you can tell me I understand to
shut up.
Yeah, I'll shut up. I'll shut up singing anyway. But
suck.
Yes, I do. I definitely do. And I'm ugly too. I have a favorite radio, but that's fine. At least my mother doesn't dress me funny still. Anyway,
I hope your mother doesn't dress you at all anymore. You're kind of old for that.
Well, a little bit. I do turn 50 this year. Anyway, okay, back to it. James Capretta of the American Enterprise Institute has a very sobering view of how Medicaid has metastasized into one of the largest and fastest growing entitlement programs that our country runs. And he says that the United States, they're greedy, and it's largely because of entitlement programs. As the old saying goes, demography is destiny. Kind of bleak sounding. Gee, lighten up, Francis. But anyway, really, it is a great article. It includes some time. You can pick up the article at the American Enterprise Institute. Just go to the website. That's what I did. But and really, if you don't have time to read the entire piece, it is rather lengthy. But there are some really good charts there that break down where we're going, where we came from with Medicaid. The charts, they're pretty grim looking, but they'll tell you what you need to know. I mean, the first chart, and I know you can't see the charts because we're on radio, but I'll just give you some quick input-output here. Looks at how the burden of Medicaid spending measured as a share of national output has increased over time. Folks, it's freaking frightening. It really is. We don't have to go into the numbers. You understand, because every state out there is Medicare, Medicaid. They're scrambling every year to fill these budget holes. Unless your state just happens to be somebody that has just oodles and oodles of money. You know what I'm talking about. So what makes the chart really depressing is that Medicaid was never supposed to become a massive entitlement program. It was created so the crowd in Washington could buy a few votes. I mean, really, that's what it was. Yet the moment politicians decided that it was a federal, that it was the federal government that had a role in subsidizing health care for the indigent, it was just a matter of time before this program exploded and expanded to new groups of potential voters. And every time the program was expanded, that increased the burden of spending and further undermined market forces in the health sector. Yes, I did say market forces. I know that's kind of a bad word when you're talking about Wall Street, but, it is what it is. So this is why entitlement programs are so injurious to a nation. But Medicaid isn't just a problem because of its adverse fiscal and economic impact. The program also is exacerbating the redistribution culture in the United States as more and more people get trapped in the web of dependency. This is what we've lived through over the last 8 years with Obama. They've Venus flytrapped millions and millions and millions of more people to become government dependent. This is how they buy their votes. They make them dependent. Government is the crack, and these little social programs are the fix, allegedly. So that brings us to the second chart in this article, and the second chart is a look at the share of the population being subsidized by Medicaid. Now, as somebody who's a fiscal weirdo, I realize I should care more about the budget numbers, but I actually find the second graph more depressing. And that hurts to say, actually, because that's how much I do care about the numbers. In my lifetime, and I'm not 50 yet, I don't hit that number until into the fall, but that's not important. I'm not even 50 yet, and in my lifetime, we've gone from a nation where the federal government had no role in the provision of low-income care, and now nearly 1 out of every 4 Americans, in some form or fashion, is on the federal team. Even though we're far richer than we were in the mid-'60s as a nation, when the program was created, which presumably should have meant less supposed need for federal subsidies. What the hell happened to our country, folks? Where did we turn and go off the rails? Oh, I think somebody uses that phrase, don't they, Mr. Producer?
I'm going to start taxing you.
Yeah, I knew he'd get onto that. Hey, by the way, that's coming up later tonight. Stay tuned, because Rick does a great job with that. America Off the Rails. We'll be right after Constitution and Culture, which follows Jesse's POV, which follows me in about 20 minutes. So anyway, again, that article, if you want to go get that, is at the American Enterprise Institute, and the gentleman's name is James Capretta. And it really is scary, folks, how when you look, if you were to pull up Greece's debt numbers to national, gross domestic product numbers, and you look at their debt and their deficit spending compared to gross national product, you can see that we are well on our way to being there. Now, does that mean when we hit the same balance that Greece hit that we're going to have the same kind of fallout that Greece did? No, it doesn't, because our economy is built a little better than theirs. It's built a little stronger than theirs, and it can withstand more hit than theirs can. But why push the envelope? Why? For the sake of votes? If that's what it's all about, let's find a way to fast track this Cal exit and just get California out of the union, and we'll never have to worry about the Democrats again, and we can fix this once and for all. Because no matter what they tell you, no matter what any leftist, Democrat, socialist, communist, whack job tells you, you cannot fix this program with more spending. Story. And I mean that literally. So, Tuesday, and I did this story not because that it's so very interesting, but because it relates to me on a personal level. Well, I'll say it relates to me because it affects, well, not affects, but relates to my wife. So you'll get it here in a minute. Anyway, on Tuesday, President Trump signed into law 2 bills aimed at encouraging women to pursue careers in science and business fields. The 2 bills promote and leading in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. Currently, only 1 in 4 women who gets a STEM degree is working in a STEM job. Now, it's smart for people who aren't taking advantage of it. But what Trump said is it's not fair. And I don't like that phrase. I don't like that phrase. Just because somebody has a STEM degree doesn't mean that they know how to do a particular type job that they apply for. They may be applying for a job that's outside of their expertise of degree, and the fact that they have a degree may not be the deciding factor in who gets the job. Now, case in point is me. But that's not important because this more relates to my wife, who is a scientist, biologist by degree. And she is working in the education field. That's right. Why? Because there weren't jobs available in STEM field here that she could easily get to with a decent commute. So why not work in the education field? I mean, you wouldn't call it science per se, but that's what she's doing. She's teaching science. To call it unfair. My wife has never been discouraged by anybody to apply for any kind of STEM job. She was actually encouraged as far back as high school. And she graduated the year after I did. So, we're talking mid-80s here. And she's being encouraged by science teachers to go to college, to get that science degree, and to go to work in the science fields. So I'm not sure where this unfairness thought is coming from. But what Trump went on to say is that it's unacceptable that we have so many American women who have these degrees but yet are not being employed in these fields. So I think that's going to change, and it's going to change very rapidly. Protecting women with STEM degrees and all Americans with STEM degrees he considers very important. But it also means you have to crack down on offshoring jobs, because the offshoring is a tremendous problem that displaces many of our American workers and brains and their brain power, he said. Not some of his more cogent words there, but I get the idea. Inspiring the next space pioneers, innovators, researchers, and explorers, the Inspire Women Act, which was H.R. 321, directed NASA to, quote unquote, encourage women and girls to study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, pursue careers in aerospace, and further advance the nation's space science and exploration efforts through support of the following initiatives: the NASA Girls and NASA Boys, Aspire to Inspire, and Summer Institute in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Research. I guess that would be the STEER program. I just made that up on the fly. Science, Technology, Engineering, and Research. STEER. I like it. Because, yeah, I know. But hear me out, though. Let me tie it together, because when he goes on the rant about it being unfair, it's all a bunch of bull. Okay, that's even worse, I know. But NASA is expected to support us. Yes, the crickets are out, I know. NASA is expected to support a specific plan to Congress on how best to facilitate and support both current and retired astronauts, scientists, engineers, and innovators, including early career female astronauts, scientists, engineers, and innovators, to engage with K-12 female STEM students and inspire the next generation of women to consider participating in STEM fields and to pursue careers in aerospace, the bill stated. Now, that takes care of the STEM side of it. Now for the business end of it, H.R. 255, the Promoting Women in Entrepreneurship Act, amends the Science and Engineering Equal Opportunities Act to authorize the National Science Foundation, don't get me started with them, to encourage its entrepreneurial programs to recruit and support women to extend their focus beyond the laboratory and into the commercial world. Trump said the bill enables the National Science Foundation to support women inventors, of which there are many, researchers and scientists, in bringing their discoveries to the business world, championing science and entrepreneurship, and creating new ways to improve people's lives. He went on to say we need policies that help support women in the workforce, and that's very much going to be addressed by my administration over the coming years, and to get more and more of these bills coming out and address the barriers faced by female entrepreneurs and those in STEM fields. What barriers? What are these barriers? Sorry, I mean, as somebody that works in a technology field, as somebody that has a say in who gets hired and who doesn't, I'm after the most qualified candidate. I don't care if they're male or female. I just want the one that works, that does the best job. And that's why when I'm involved in an interview, it's more than just an interview. They're going to put hands on equipment and they're going to show me their skills, because I need to know that they can actually do the job I'm going to have them doing. So, again, don't care if male or female. I just want the best qualified employee. End of story. So, anyway, I get what he wants to do. I just don't get the reasoning that they're dishing it out. Okay? Maybe there are places where this is a problem. I don't know. I've been in the same job for 16 years now, and I can tell you it doesn't happen where I work, because we just want the best people. We don't care what kind of people they are. We don't care what gender they are. We don't care what sex they are. We don't even care what they identify as, if that's what they want to do. We only care that they can do the job that we're going to lay in front of them. And I have a feeling because of the people that I talk to in the business world, that that's how a lot of people see things. So maybe it's not that these women are unqualified. Maybe it's just that there's not enough jobs to go around. Maybe they're just not the best qualified at that particular time for that particular job. Just a thought. So anyway, let's kick the immigration mule as we wind up the show, shall we? Germany's intelligence officials have announced an uptick of hundreds of people in the Islamic radical scene in a matter of months, saying young people were largely becoming radicalized online. The Domestic Security and Intelligence Agency reported that the number of people who had been radicalized had risen from only about 100 in 2013 to about 1,600 right now. It said the number had jumped by several hundred in a matter of months. Of those 1,600 radicalized Islamists currently living in Germany, the intelligence agency said some 570 were considered dangerous and capable of planning terrorist attacks. This revelation came as the German cabinet approved sweeping proposals for stricter measures to combat the increased threat, such as broadening surveillance, ensuring faster deportations of rejected asylum seekers. And last week, the government of Bavaria approved a ban on Islamic religious clothing, such as full-face veils in public spaces. Woo! Hello, Democrats. Are you seeing it yet? Hey, you know, countries like Sweden and Finland and Norway, they're actually deporting refugees now. Yeah, they're not bringing them in, they're sending them back out. But back to Germany, their state's interior minister, Jay Herman, there he is, said such garb hindered public safety by obscuring communication. The measures being taken and proposed are motivated by security concerns, but are to some degree also likely politically driven as parties scramble to lure voters from the anti-Islam, anti-immigrant AfD ahead of the federal election in September. So this is Merkel's crew trying to save a little bit of face ahead of the election. While the debate over security may be a key political issue during the election year, part of the measured rise in radicalization may be attributed simply to increased awareness. As the intelligence agency explained, that part of the reason for the uptick was heavy press coverage of terror plots and an increasing ease in tracking down extremists online. Still, intelligence agency president Hans-Georg Mason warned last month about an increased danger of young people being radicalized online. At a special Q&A session in Berlin in mid-January, Mason said that teenagers and even younger children were growing targets for Islamic radicals. At least 10 minors were involved in potential terror plots in 2016. Last February, a 15-year-old girl from Hanover assaulted and wounded a policeman with a knife after being prompted to commit the crime by instant messenger Salafist groups. These are extremist groups. The case reached court last month, and the Hanover prosecutors have asked for a 6-year prison sentence for the minor. Mason reiterated that groups such as the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria exploit such adolescents' immaturity by seeking narcissistic young people, searching for black and white truths, underdogs who want to be top dogs, and part of the social avant-garde, and people who rebel against their parents and the system. Now, Haras Rafiq, CEO of the British anti-extremism NGO Quilliam, said in an interview with Cypher Brief, a digital service focusing on security, that propaganda from ISIS was effective because 95% of it is not barbaric. Instead, he said, it comprises supportive messages telling targets nobody in the West wants you. Come to the land that really wants you, the land of Muslims. Help us build the state and we will accept you. Only a day after the increase in radicalization was announced, police arrested a 26-year-old in a small town in Lower Saxony after bomb-making materials were found in his apartment. This was the second incident in the same area in just 2 weeks. Previously, a 22-year-old Nigerian-born and a 27-year-old Algerian-born were earlier questioned by the police on suspicion of plotting extremist violence with improvised weapons, ISIS flags, and USB sticks with radical material stored on them in their possession. Meanwhile, an increase in violence targeting refugees and migrants has also been reported in Germany, with far-right radicals also using the internet to spread their views. This dual-sided movement leads to what is known as reciprocal radicalization, occurring when Islamist organizations feed off the views expressed by right-wing extremists and vice versa, escalating tensions and violence against each other. A Funk Media group reported Sunday that there were more than 3,500 attacks on refugees last year. It said groups such as the AFD Party and anti-Islam Pegida organization were effectively leveraging social media to create self-radicalizing echo chambers. Now, folks, I haven't been watching as closely as I should have been overseas right now. I've been much more concentrated on the motherland here. But I will research this a little deeper. Pegida, as I understand, never endorsed violence or preached violence, so I'm curious to see how that ties them into it. Could it be that there are people in Pegida that are doing this as a separatist movement? Yes, it is. But I've never seen Pegida supporting the violence, only the legislative changes that they wanted. So anyway, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. It's good. We're right on schedule here, coming up on the top of the hour. Jesse's POV comes up right after me, and then Constitution and Culture with Dan and Susan, followed by the big boss, Rowdy Rick Robinson, with America Off the Rails. Folks, as usual, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please tell your friends. If your friends enjoy the show, you probably need new friends, but they and you are welcome here every week with me and the rest of the G Nation, right here on KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. Thank you for being here. God bless. See you next week as we drive on towards the 100th episode of the Conservative Curmudgeon Show.
Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that